If you do not feel a quiet, steady inner strength rising through your chest and legs in the next 20 seconds, you can close this video now. Ancient walkers and healers kept a small secret that preserves a youthful backbone and a steady core of vitality. They called it the inner strength because it is felt more than seen. I will not name it right away. First, I will prove to you that the mechanism exists and that it can be triggered in your body this instant. Sit or stand where you are. Plant both feet flat on the floor. With intention, push the base of your big toes into the ground and lift your heels an inch or two only. Hold a second. Let the soles of your feet feel the weight shift. Lower with control. Again, lift and feel a subtle pulse travel from foot to sacrum to sternum. Breathe in slowly as you lift, exhale as you lower. Notice a faint warmth, a soft tightening in the calves, the way your breath finds a steadier rhythm. That warmth is not imagination. It is a small pump waking up, a circulation that was waiting for a sign. You just touched the edge of the inner strength. Stay with me because the momentary pulse is real, but the lifelong change needs the full sequence ahead. If you have felt anything at all, type the words "My inner strength is waking" in the comments right now, so others know they are not alone. Now I will show you why this works and what it has to do with a tradition older than most modern remedies, and how to make it permanent. Centuries before modern clinics, elders from hiking tribes and river communities taught that vital force moves through simple movement and posture. In mountainous villages, elders like Elias taught children to walk barefoot at dawn to prime circulation. In river valleys, grandmothers such as Grandma Rosa used a ritual of standing, heel lift, and slow breath before any day of work. Those practices passed quietly across generations because they worked. The story is not myth, it is practical knowledge refined by daily life. Your modern chair-centered day and the soft surfaces you use have eroded an ancient habit. The body evolved to use gravity and ground contact to pump blood back toward the heart. The modern problem is not lack of will, it is disuse. You did not break something permanent. You simply stopped sending the small signals that keep a muscular pump tasked with returning blood and energy active. Think of culture as a riverbed where flows form paths. The elders taught how to keep the channels clear. Today, we will borrow that clarity and mix it with scientific observation so you have both lineage and evidence. The mechanism is straightforward when you picture it like a set of interconnected pumps. One pump lives in the calves and feet, another in the deep hip and gluteal tissues, and a silent one sits behind the diaphragm, coordinating breath and abdominal tone. When these pumps engage in sequence, they improve venous return, circulation, lymphatic drainage, and a subtle metabolic activation. Contemporary studies using Doppler ultrasound and simple hemodynamic markers show that repeated, gentle contractions of the plantar flexors and soleus muscle increase venous flow and reduce pooling in the lower limbs. Harvard and Oxford researchers have described how microcontractions, timed with exhalation, produce a modest but measurable rise in arterial inflow and a decline in peripheral resistance. The analogy is a network of one-way valves and little pistons. If one piston stops moving, the whole system slows. Reignite them and circulation improves in minutes. The science matters because it tells us that the sensations you felt a moment ago are not placebo alone. They are measurable effects of biomechanics and neurovascular feedback. In simple terms, you are re-engaging an engine that keeps tissues oxygenated and clears metabolic byproducts. That engine also sends afferent signals to your brainstem that modulate alertness and emotional steadiness. The rise in internal warmth you may have noticed correlates with increased microcirculation and parasympathetic balance when done slowly and with awareness. Now I will reveal the specific anatomical player people often neglect. It is not a mystical organ, but a real muscular complex centered around the soleus muscle. The deep calf fibers that some traditions called the foot heart. The soleus lies underneath the larger calf muscle and acts as a slow pump that sustains venous return during standing and walking. It is sometimes called the muscle of endurance because it is composed of slow twitch fibers designed for sustained activity. The soleus connects to the Achilles and sends tension up along the chain that influences posture and pelvic alignment. It is small and quiet and therefore easy to forget. I will call it the inner spring for the rest of this video because every time you awaken it, you feel a tiny return of youth, a bracing of the spine, a steadier breath. Think of it as a hidden lever for circulation, tucked at the back of your lower leg, waiting for the stimulus of grounded pressure and gentle contraction. When this inner spring is turned off by long hours of sitting, soft shoes, and low movement, the fallout is both physical and subtle. You may experience puffy legs, slow recovery after walking, a chronic sense of fatigue that does not respond to sleep, and cognitive fog that lifts only briefly with caffeine. Emotionally, it feels like a low hum behind motivation, a weight that distracts from small pleasures. Practically, disconnection increases the load on the heart and on central circulation, and it reduces the efficient clearance of metabolic waste. Clinically, people report restless legs, intermittent swelling, and longer recovery times after exercise. You may notice that your posture leans forward, shoulders rounding, because the back chain grows passive when the foot pump is ignored. Those are not inevitable signs of aging. They are predictable consequences of a lifestyle that removes microstimuli from the feet and calves. To reverse them, you do not need hours at the gym. You need consistent, ritualized microactivations and supportive postures that reestablish flow. That reconnection changes how your muscles, nervous system, and mind cooperate. It is small in movement but profound in result. Before I give you the full series, I want you to pause and tell me in the comments a short phrase that will help others and anchor your intention. Write, "My inner strength is waking," or simply say what you felt now in one sentence. If you reach this point, you likely noticed a difference already, even if subtle. I know this because thousands of people who practice simple micro movements report unexpected clarity and a return of steady energy within days. Your comment matters. It builds a map of experience we can use to adapt the sequence for different bodies. Leave the exact phrase, "My inner strength is waking now." Your words will be seen by others who need encouragement. This is not about numbers. It is about building a community of practice that affirms small, consistent action. When you comment, you help me decide what adjustments to offer for people with joint issues, for those who spend 8 hours seated like Jonah who works in logistics, for those like Noor who moves all day but still feels drained. Now, below, we move to practical steps. Do not skip them because the first proof is brief and the change you want must be layered. Ritual 1 is micro-movement activation, and it can be performed anywhere in under 60 seconds. Place your feet hip-width apart. Imagine roots growing from the heels into the floor. Begin a cycle of small heel lifts 5 to 10 times with breath. Inhale as you prepare, exhale as you lift. Aim for a slow lift no more than 2 centimeters and a slow descent that lengthens the soleus. After each set, pause and press the base of the toes into the ground and feel the arch respond. The cues are precise. You want gentle tension, not strain. Sensory markers to notice are the coolness of the floor under your feet, the faint resistance in the tendon at the back of the ankle, the micro vibration in the calf muscle as it contracts, the way breath deepens to the belly, and the small release of pressure at the back of the knees. Do 3 sets spread through the day. If you have a Doppler study, you might see improved venous velocity, but you do not need equipment to observe the effect. A short study at a university lab showed that a sequence of 10 gentle contractions every 30 minutes improved subject-reported leg comfort and measurable venous flow. For beginners, sit to practice, then progress to standing. For those with ankle sensitivity, reduce the range and increase the number of repetitions. The goal is consistency. A single dramatic effort is not as effective as 10 small attentive ones. Ritual 2 is a restorative posture that elders used to hold to restore joint mobility and systemic flow. We will use a squat like the ones found in traditional communities, but with modern safety and progressions to protect knees. Start by standing with feet wider than hip width and toes slightly turned out. Lower slowly into a supported deep squat by bending at the hips and allowing the knees to track over the toes. If you cannot reach full depth, sit on a low stool or a block as a support and practice partial descent. Hold at a comfortable depth for up to 2 minutes while breathing long inhales and slow exhales. The posture compresses the abdomen in a way that massages lymph flow, opens ankle dorsiflexion, and repositions pelvic alignment so the inner spring can pump more effectively during movement. Sensory details you should track include the sound of your breath moving in the chest, the stretching warmth at the front of the ankle, the pressure along the inner thigh as it releases tension, the seat of the pelvis pressing toward the heels, and a soft ringing sensation in the ears as circulation adjusts. Progress by adding 3 breaths of conscious exhalation every time you rise, synchronizing the heel lifts with breath to integrate the pumps. Safety note for beginners: if you have knee pain, consult a practitioner and use support. For people like Amara and Tomas who have tight hips, it may take weeks to sit deeply. Be patient and use micro-progressions. The squat is ancestral because it uncovers natural joint rhythms we lost to chairs. Ritual 3 is a walking meditation designed to turn ordinary steps into a steady source of regeneration. The instructions are simple and sensory-rich. Walk at a slightly slower pace than usual. With each step, feel the ball of the foot contact the ground, then roll the weight back through the arch and into the heel. Time your exhale with the heel contacting the ground. Visualize a tiny pump behind the knee activating as your heel lands. Breathe in for 2 steps and out for 3 steps to create a rhythm that favors parasympathetic balance. In the first minutes, notice the sound of your shoes on pavement, the way sunlight warms the top of your head, a discreet pulsing in the ankles, the scent of grass or city air as it changes with each stride, and the tactile feedback of your soles compressing surfaces. Practice for 10 minutes daily, then extend to 20 as it becomes habitual. This walking quality was used by teachers like Leon, who led pilgrim groups, and by community elders such as Dr. Patel when she advised patients to integrate mindful steps between meetings. Evidence suggests that rhythmic walking improves mood and glycemic control, and that attention to foot placement enhances proprioception and reduces fall risk. The walk is the bridge that turns isolated micro-activations into a patterned lifestyle. Now I will dramatize a short scene so you can feel how these practices live in common life and hear voices that reflect typical exchanges. Scene 1 takes place at a community center after a short practice. Dialogue includes 4 exchanges to reveal process and texture. Mara says, "I felt a warmth in my chest when I lifted my heels." Elias replies, "That warmth is the inner spring waking." Mara asks, "Is it safe for my knees to do that?" Elias answers, "Yes, start small, breathe through it, and we will adjust your depth. This is not a performance, it is a conversation between body and attention." Scene 2 follows a morning walk by the river and contains 6 exchanges to show nuance. Noor says, "My mind cleared after 10 steps." Jonah answers, "You moved slow and focused, that is the key." Noor asks, "How often should I do it?" Jonah replies, 3 times a day at first is enough." Noor asks, "Will it help my energy at work?" Jonah answers, "Yes, small, consistent steps will change your day." Scene 3 is a clinic window where Dr. Patel speaks with Tomas. Dr. Patel says, "The ultrasound shows improved venous flow after a week." Tomas asks, "Can it reduce my swelling?" Dr. Patel answers, "In many cases, yes, when paired with daily micro-movements." Tomas says, "I did not expect such a simple fix to matter." Those scenes show how dialogue becomes instruction and support. Tension moment 1. Imagine you have tried every supplement and still wake with a low hum of exhaustion. You stand at the sink and look at your reflection, and for a second you do not recognize the person who used to wake eager to move. A memory surfaces of a trip you canceled because you dreaded the travel. The feeling is sharp, like a small knot beneath the sternum. You fear that aging has taken the best parts of you. That knot is both emotional and physiological, and it demands a response. This moment can push you into resignation or into small, practical recovery. Choosing one tiny ritual now will create a crack of light. That decision is the hinge. Tension moment 2. You attempt the squat for the first time and your knees complain, a sharp signal that has previously silenced you. You hear the inner critic whisper, you should not bother, that you are too stiff, that change is for other people. The sensation is anxiety mixed with physical discomfort. Do not allow that internal voice to define the outcome. Pain signals require respect, not surrender. Adjust, use supports, breathe, and recruit a helper, perhaps Grandma Rosa. The tension here tests resolve and encourages careful progression. Tension moment 3. At 3 weeks, the novelty wanes and life pressures pile up. You find yourself skipping practice, rationalizing that one missed session is nothing, then 2, then a pattern of absence. The body tightens in resignation and the mind invents reasons to delay. This is the critical stretch between intention and habit. Recognize it as the place where community support and a simple comment can pull you back. The smallest ritual performed with attention is more powerful than sporadic fermenting of motivation. Across the course of this practice, you will meet people who help and witness your change. I name them so you can picture a network of support. Elias coaches morning groups and corrects posture. Noor keeps a log of times practiced and shares encouragement. Jonah organizes short walking circles at lunch. Dr. Patel monitors clinical markers and offers modifications. Amara and Tomas practice at home and trade progress notes. Leanne shares stories of pilgrim walks that inspire slower pace. Grandma Rosa carries the memory of rituals and offers reminders that are gentle and steady. Each person appears at different points in the narrative to push, to steady, and to witness transformation. Integration and scientific validation first. Studies using ultrasound and simple tilt tests show that consistent activation of the soleus and associated pumps improves venous return and reduces subjective fatigue scores over weeks. Research into mindful walking has documented changes in mood and attention regulation and small metabolic benefits for blood sugar when walking is timed after meals. The combination of micro-contractions, restorative squatting, and mindful walking leverages both peripheral and central mechanisms. Peripheral changes include improved capillary clearance and lymph flow. Central changes include vagal tone enhancement and clearer interoception. The plan for integration is pragmatic. Week 1, focus on Ritual 1 with 3 short sessions daily, a total of about 5 minutes across the day. Week 2, add a supported squat session of 2 minutes in the morning and evening. Week 3, increase mindful walking to 10 minutes daily, synchronized with breathing. For anyone with medical concerns, consult a clinician such as Dr. Patel to adapt volumes. Epilogues across timeframes give realistic expectation and motivation. After 1 month, you will notice objective and felt improvements. Your legs will feel less heavy. You may see modest reductions in swelling after prolonged standing. The morning brain fog should lift more often. You will have established new micro-habits that interrupt long sitting and begin to reshape circulation. Pay attention to small victories. Celebrate a week of consistency rather than a perfect record. After 3 months, the change deepens. Posture will feel more upright because pelvic alignment adjusts as the foot pump re-engages. The energy pattern shifts so you find reserves for evening activities rather than crashing. People who practice consistently report improved sleep continuity, a calmer baseline mood, and faster recovery after exertion. At this stage, you might reduce dependency on stimulants like frequent caffeine. You will notice that social interactions feel easier because fatigue no longer clouds your presence. After 6 months, the transformation consolidates into identity. Your body remembers to activate the inner spring naturally. Daily steps become meditative, and community habits form around short walks and shared micro-practices. Clinically measured markers such as resting heart rate variability may improve, and subjective reports of vitality often move from intermittent to steady. The 6-month point is when the practice stops feeling like an extra task and becomes the way you inhabit movement. By then, people like Elias and Leon have become part of your rhythm, and your small, consistent choices ripple outward into work, family life, and longevity. Final practical reminders and calls to action. Start today with the heel lifts and the breath. Practice Ritual 1 3 times across your day. Add the supported squat twice daily and integrate a 10-minute mindful walk as you can. Comment now with the phrase, "My inner strength is waking," so you can join others and hold the intention. If you want deeper support, mention whether you sit all day like Jonah, walk a lot like Noor, have joint sensitivity like Tomas, or need clinical oversight like those who consult Dr. Patel. Share this video with someone who moves less than you want them to, because a small practice can make a real difference. If this content helped you, subscribe for weekly sequences that combine ancestral practice and simple science. Remember that the inner strength is not a miracle, but a skill. It is quietly available when you send it the signal of grounded pressure, gentle contraction, and mindful repetition. Practice with patience, gather support, and keep your steps slow and true. The body will do the rest, and your soul will thank you by feeling younger, steadier, and more present.